Good evening, everybody, both of you. Welcome to the February 29, 2016 meeting of the Weare Board of Selectmen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Floor is open for public comment.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow? Well, I was thinking more permanent. Frank Campana, this could probably wait till next Monday.
Okay, department head committee items.
But I want to jump on it ahead of time. It's an ongoing issue with me. In the mailer, if you have it, it's Article 15, and it's the EMTs. And I think I first addressed this at the public hearing. I didn't go back to look exactly when it was, but the dollar amount is the $67,005 is for 9 months, which is absolutely true. And as you recall, I tried to amend that, the deliberative session, to show what the dollar amount was going to be for full 12 months. I was in the minority. Apparently people don't want to know that figure. But in any event, when I first asked, again, I think it was a public hearing, when I first asked if that could be, the full 12-month dollar amount could be included in the article, I think you weren't sure at the time, and there was a comment made from somebody at the front of me that they said, well, it could put it in the backup information. Well, it doesn't show up. At the deliberative session, in regards to my final comment to the failed amendment, I asked that the selectmen, could probably put that in information out somewhere. And there was actually two folks at the table. I think they kind of looked at each other and said, well, they could do it in the mailer. So I heard that twice. It did not appear. I think it's it's an unfortunate when the whole story isn't told. I hear the word transparency from the board. I hear the word that you're not trying to do anything sinister, which I don't believe that's the case. But transparency, that's not part of transparency to me. I know it's way after the fact. I did write a letter to the editor. I might make it in the paper. It just satisfies me, to give the full dollar amount. I know it's going to be a change of a selectman. Maybe in the future that can be done. It's fact, not fiction. So just present $1 amount for 6 months. Put it out there what it is for the 12 months. And the other comment, and probably more of a question, you may not be able to give me too much information. Several meetings back, somewhere around the end of January, beginning of February, I was commenting on the vacancies in the police department. And one of those vacancies I attributed to the officer that was doing desk duty. And a trained officer not being out on the road. The response from, actually it was you, Tom, your words were, he was on temporary alternative duty. That was the term for being behind the desk. And now, in light of the finished trial, which his name is out there, I don't need to mention the name. It was verified that he's on paid administrative leave, And I'm curious to know what I can be told of his current status. Is it still paid administrative leave? What is the prospect for, his future on being back on duty in the department? So I don't know if you're able to.
I don't know how much of that we can say.
Okay,
So-
and I'm trying to give you that, that.
Sure. And I'm
little bit of
trying to
relief.
remember. So,
Pardon me?
I'm trying to remember, but I'm gonna err on the side of caution.
Well, I don't want you to, I don't want you to, put yourself out on a limb and regret what you said. But, again, that, my concern is still for that person. Paid administrative leave is nothing but a paid vacation. And I think I looked at, he's getting around $26 an hour, I think. Whether he gets paid for an 8-hour day or a 10-hour day, I mean, that's a lot for doing nothing. I've never quite understood paid administrative leave, but, you better not to pay a person and then find out that you owe them the money, in retrospect, and that's, probably a little bit better. But, so that's my concern, so I it's out there, it's still in my mind. I hope it's on other people's minds also, other than the board, obviously Julie's. So I'll just let that go as that comment, and then I'll get you guys off the hook. So I read it in the newspaper.
Can I just make one comment?
Sure.
And I think it's important. This is not a disciplinary issue. I think it's important to say that the reason for his being on leave, because oftentimes in the past, that's been an association, it's been a disciplinary issue.
Sure.
And
Okay.
that's not the case with this officer.
Okay,
I think it's important that that's said.
Sure.
okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
And as far as Article 15, oversight.
Yeah.
It wasn't done deliberate. We were pulling these together, trying to get them out on time, and
Well, I probably should have come to an earlier meeting and made that, request, renewed that request. Because, well, I can't say the other article for the policeman. I mean, that was the.
That was the amendment.
The amendment.
Right.
I was glad to see that.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you again.
Yep. Any other public comment?
Yes.
Tim?
How you doing?
Good.
Tim Matheson, 80 River Road. Got a question on a couple things I was thinking of. Just wondering how the letter to the town attorney is, if there's been one drafted yet, or if he's got back to us about the town hall door issue.
She's gotten the information from me. I haven't seen a draft yet. I gave her the information last week when she was here.
So when can we see, was it Mass Road getting that letter?
I can ask her. I don't know what her schedule is. I mean, I gave her the information when she was here.
Okay.
I didn't follow up, Tim, but I can.
All right, so that should be forthcoming soon. I was looking at the mail-in sample ballot here, and Article 10, the highway project shed, 1.360. And reading in the community newspaper, it tells me that there's $184,000 that's not within that article.
No, can I explain that?
Yeah.
No, what that, there are two pieces that add up to that. Figuring on a square foot basis, $105 per square foot for the building itself, and, the building complete. But that does not take into account the need for a cistern for the fire suppression system, a pump, and other septic, and paving. So that $184,000 is for the outside work, but it's part of that total.
But I guess my question is, why wouldn't it be a total number
It is the total number.
presented to the,
It is that 1.36 is the total number. So if you were to subtract 184,000 from that,
Okay, because it says there is, reading in the paper, it tells me there's an additional cost of
I
184,000.
think if you back up a little bit, it will tell you that there's a cost for the building of $105 per square
Yes.
foot. And then in addition to that, 184,000, and those figures add up to the total amount. So they're not.
Okay, because I was coming up with 1.54. And I'm
No,
like,
no, you don't.
what happened?
No, no.
It's not an add-on.
Yeah.
They're all inclusive.
Alright. Tim Redmond has done his pilot programs of outsourcing work. I guess he's some mechanic work, welding. Have we ever tried, I know we have in the past, but outsourcing some of the plowing?
Been conversation we've had.
Because we were just talking to a couple of gentlemen that actually do that for a living, and the rate is at about $85 to $125 an hour. I would see that as a significant cost reduction, therefore eliminating such a large building. And is there any projection on what it is to heat that new building? And I guess this building's footprint is at 160 by 80. Is that correct?
I think it's 140 by 80.
I thought it said they took 40 feet off a couple bays.
Yeah, of 2 years ago's plan.
But is there any indication of what it costs to heat that building?
The plan is to use waste oil
Right,
to heat it.
but that's a crazy big building. The other thing, if you go around, even just Weare or anywhere else for that matter, trucks are parked outside with block heaters. I myself work for a firm that I'm in charge of probably 15 Class A trucks. They're in a shed, or they might be parked outside, but they're plugged into block heaters. No real problems to speak of. If you go down B&B Lane, you're going to see the same thing. Trucks are plugged in with block heaters. I don't feel the need for all this equipment to be undercover. And if we did need a garage, I think there's other ways around it, other possibilities. If we actually need a garage, we could get a wash bay. We could get a safe place for the guys to have a break room, and maybe a 2-stall garage with a high bay so they can work on their equipment, raising bodies and such. And I don't know if it's fact or fiction, but then it goes on to talk about parking the grader, if so, in the wash bay. That would probably be a bad thing to do, just because it's a moist area, and it's going to have a door on it. A lot of electronics can go awry. Moisture gets in the instruments, and I don't think that'd be a very good thing. And, like I said, there's lots of ideas around this. B&B Lane, we're looking for 1.36. There was recently a building sold down in the industrial park for about $500,000. So why couldn't we latch on to something like that? I just wanted to give the voters another chance to, there are other options out there that I think we ought to tackle before I get into a building of this magnitude, especially with Tim Redmond outgoing. The new person might not, he'll say, what in hell did we build this huge building for? I just don't see it. And I would say if we did build a small garage, we'd leave the old current garage as is. I've looked at this building a couple times this summer.
It's got a nice, crisp, straight roof line. It's got a new roof. I would say that thing is good for another 30, 40 years. And if you take this, I've been reading the town reports backwards from 1990 backward to 1900. And it's funny that I see in 1977 that this particular building was going to be condemned. It was uninhabitable. But look at us 40 years later, we are in this building. We made use of it. I just hate to see buildings get ripped down for no apparent reason. It's about all I got.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, there was one thing. On the trash side, is there any possibility of, because I think Tim Redmond, I think he just gets to be overwhelmed with all the jobs he has. I know at one time we did have the trash. There was someone else that actually headed that up. Would it be less headache for the incoming road agent to not do that? Because he's in charge of the pump station, he's in charge of the wells, and just kind of a crazy amount of work. But I feel if we get someone else to head up the recycling, the trash, the landfill area, probably be a good thing.
Well, we're about to interview candidates. So
Excellent.
I guess we'll find out if it comes up, if they're thinking it's too big of a job or not when we interview them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
John Knox, lived in town all my life, and I'm against the new big highway department garage, because I think that you should be outsourcing more of the work and having less equipment that the town owns and maintains and needs to house and all that. And they've just been doing that on several of the road construction jobs, which seems to be successful. And I think it can be done just like the state of New Hampshire's done for years in the winter roads, is hire some subcontracted trucks. And I know it works, because guess what? 40 years ago I was doing it, and with Eldon Towns, and mainly Eldon Towns when he was selectman. I mean road agent, excuse me. So I know the system works, and I just think it would cut down the big overhead that the town has got. And we've got that problem all the way down to Washington, obviously, with just government getting bigger and bigger. And I think it would be more effective for the town to scale down the road agent type stuff and subcontract out some of the plowing. I mean, you couldn't completely get rid of it, but end up with less employee overhead. Employees are very expensive with all the benefits and everything. And I don't know how many is employed, but I've heard two figures, 12, and then I've also heard 14 are employed at the highway department. And I think if it was subcontracted out more of the work, that we could cut that overhead down, and if you did that, you wouldn't need this big garage. And it's kind of, I've been in business all my life in town, and it's kind of utilization of investment. And there's several investments the town has made that aren't utilized as much as they should be. And if the private sector did that, they'd go broke. So I think that should be looked at. So I'm the guy that's campaigning against voting down the big garage again. But I want to push the thought process into coming up to an alternative to get the work done. And I think it would be better if it was subcontracted out and you just hire the people when the job needs to be done. And you can do that with probably approximately half of the snowplow in town, I'd say. And the reason I say that is I was one of those subcontractors years ago, and I worked for Eldon Towns, the road agent, and there was several other fellows there, and I had my route, and I took care of it, and it just worked. And the only time they paid me was when I was plowing snow. And guess what? This year here, you wouldn't have to pay up. Now, last month, it would have to pay me quite a bit.
Tail the nose.
But you pay for what you get. So I just want to bring that up, and I hope the big garage gets defeated again.
Thank you.
Eldon Towns, 111 Huntington Hill. To support, what the last two gentlemen have said about the garage, I do agree that it is more than what we need. It's more of what we want to have. The garage has been talked about. We need a safer space to work, which I'm all for safety when you're working on big equipment. I do it myself. And having a safe work environment makes you want to work at a safe, makes you want to work in a garage. I haven't been to the garage in quite a while. I don't know how unsafe it is, but from what I hear, there could be some improvements. But I think some money spent there to rebuild, restore, spend some money on the building itself, maybe add on a wash bay, and maybe reconstruct the pole barn that's there to keep the equipment under cover, would be better money spent and not such a big burden on the taxpayers in the future trying to maintain a big building like what's proposed and even heating it. Do we know what type of heat that, other than waste oil as being the source of the fuel, what kind of heat that we're using to heat the garage? Is it radiant or is it forced hot air?
Would probably be fan coils, I would imagine.
So that would be forced hot air. Okay, all right, I've heard rumors.
Well, not ducted forced hot air, but
No, but big radiator up in the corner of the building. Okay.
Actually, the committee that worked on that, we looked at several other garages, and we, again, it's a decision that's still gonna be made after it's approved, but we were looking at radiant heat in the floor. That's what they have at a building in Newbury. They actually have
That's
a
what I'm afraid
100
of.
by 200 foot building in the town of Newbury. That's an open space type building.
Yeah.
And the one that have just been completed in Henniker has radiant heat in the floor, except in the last two bays. They have two bays that have a forced air system, and the rest has radiant heat in the floor. The Henniker building is actually heated with wood pellets. They have a big
Yes, that's
silo
what I've heard, yeah.
for the wood pellets.
Yeah.
So, again, that's what we're looking at. But
Has anybody got any personal experience with a garage being radiant heat and winter vehicles coming in and melting off? I do. And I don't like parking my truck in the garage to melt off. It's nothing but a big frying pan. All the water evaporates in the air, condensates on anything cold. Windows, electrical sockets, anything that can condensate water. It will do that. I don't like parking my vehicles in my garage with the radiant heat. It's beautiful if the vehicle is in there dry, doors are shut, it stays warm, it's comfortable, you can roll around on the floor, it's nice and warm, it's great for that. As far as a workspace, the doors are open, trucks are coming in with a lot of snow, you got a wash bay, I don't know if that'll be radiant heat or not, but you'll have a lot of moisture coming up and just collecting on everything that it can condensate on. And the recovery time is not great. The floor will stay warm, but to heat the air back up is not as quick as you think it would be. It's better for home use, residential use. I don't see it good as a commercial industrial use of a garage. But to get away from that, our road agent, Tim, has had some very good ideas of subcontracting the work. There has been success there. There is ways to cut down on infrastructure and costs of the town if you start subbing out more of the work. So you don't need the equipment, you don't need the crews that we have. I mean, yes, you need an excavator, the graders, we have that, the loader, a couple trucks to do what, say, a half a dozen crew can do around town. But the major projects like that have been quoted out in the past. Tim's correct. That needs to move that way. We're not a road building town. We're a maintenance town. You know, our road program is for maintaining the roads. We have a lot of new roads that have been built since Tim's been in, and Carl's done a lot of new roads. But a lot of the maintenance of the new roads hasn't happened. My grandfather has said to me time and time again, there's no money spent on sealing any cracks of the roads, no shoulder, no shoulder maintenance that's sufficient enough. But mainly he's been upset, and I see his point. It's starting to do it on Hodgdon. That was done no more than maybe 8 years ago. You get a crack in the road in the wintertime, salt goes down through it, you form more cracks, more divots. The pavement falls away, you lose the road. So while we're spending money on rebuilding roads, the new road agent and the selectmen, you have to come up with a plan to maintain what we have. There's a lot of money spent on East Road and Mount Dearborn, and Sugar Hill was one of them, and all the material that we've seen head out to the roads. Just to have a crack start and not get sealed up and then become your holes that you get, it's just a shame. I've been through towns where they do seal the roads and they stay good. It works. That's why the state does it. That's why your highways are nice and smooth throughout the winter time. That needs to be put in effect. A good maintenance program of the roads that we do have and that we can save. I would like to see a hiring committee formed for the new road agent coming up, just so we can make the committee of people in town. There's a lot of excavation experience in town. You got, to name a few guys, you got guys like the Weares, Reeds, Elliott's, Peter Rice is one of them. There's some, the Boltons. Put these guys together to just not grill, the new applicants, but just to see what they have to offer and, use what we have in town. Just put together a committee so that the real questions can get asked and the intent can be seen out of what the new road agent will do. Because, not everybody's going to agree with road agents of the past or the future, but I think what has been tried to be put through town with Tim, he's doing things good by subbing things out, and, getting the guys back to maintaining what we have. We need more of that thought process. So, that's all I have to say. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim Matheson. Keith, I think sometime last November or so, you talked about getting someone to overlook projects that are done in town. Just like the town hall, for example, is, it's one of them. All the buildings now have propane heat. Would that be a fair assumption?
This building doesn't.
This is oil still?
Hmm.
Okay.
And one or two of the fire stations is still. The new one's propane, but I think the other two are still. We still have a little both.
Yeah. I kind of like what you said, Keith, about getting someone with a name brand like any of the bigger oil companies come in and check our furnaces. Just not some guy that he's in business for a year and might not have a license, or Granite State Plumbing, Heating, or Irving, or. You see these news bulletins, a place blows up, and we certainly wouldn't want that.
Be their own GC.
What's that?
Be their own GC.
Yeah. And do you have any kind of form that the payment form that the contractor would fill out? Say what their license numbers are, and if they have insurance and such.
I know. I'm not a building contractor, so I kind of have to lean to Chip to get licenses, because when you put furnaces in houses, you have to have a license. Plumbers, electricians, they have to provide their license. They have to provide that it's current. Insurance, I don't know about, but I do know.
We would have to.
Yeah, I do know that we do. Right.
Even like when I owned the store, I had proved to my insurance company that any contractor that I hired was insured. So we would have to, or we'd never pass muster with our insurance.
So you basically have a form that represents all that?
I don't know that there's
Before
a
payment.
form as such. There's maybe, and we might have copies of things together. I
Or
don't
a
know that we have a
requisition that they would both sign, or we'd
There's a
sign off to get
contract
payment?
there's a contract usually drawn up, and copies are exchanged of licenses and stuff.
All right. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay. Were we expecting Tim tonight? Department head committee items?
No, he's gave me a couple of emails for you.
Okay.
That I put underneath here.
Do we have any department head?
No one's here.
Okay, approval of minutes of February 22nd.
They didn't come out until this morning. So.
Yeah. You didn't read them? Okay, I'll hold off.
Table.
Okay. I read them.
Yeah, I did too. I think there's a mistake on the gravel contract. In one place it says $2.67 per ton. That can't be right.
Yeah, it is. $2.67 is roughly. Yeah. It's not $267.
$2.67 and $2.77.
Yeah, it's $2.67
Okay, then we've
and
got to
$2.
change the next one then, because it said two different things in two different places, so.
I put the decimal point in the first one, but I probably didn't in the second one, because
In the
it's not
mo-
267 a ton.
Okay, in the motion, it says $276 per
Yeah,
ton,
no.
so that should be,
wish.
Elton will start crushing for us. By hand.
so, okay, we've just got to be consistent.
Yeah.
So what we do is just put a decimal point
Okay.
in this second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna table, or we're gonna go for?
We can make those corrections, but I mean, if no one else, if there's other board members haven't read them, 3 out of 5 haven't read them, I think we need to table them. Right,
Wouldn't take you long.
I was going to say it's only 2 pages. It was a short meeting.
I got
Yeah.
it this afternoon at
Yep.
12:30, man.
Gonna read it?
I'll read it later. I can get them.
I only got 3 changes on the second page.
I only had some in the one paragraph. Probably similar ones that you had, probably.
I changed is to are,
I missed that.
and I had changed replace to replacement.
I think I got that one.
And then straightening out that cost.
The gravel. We'll wait.
So
Manifest. I move we order the treasurer to sign the accounts payables and payroll checks dated March 3rd, 2016, as included in the following manifests. Payroll manifest $40,910.02 for weekly payroll, including payroll taxes. Fire department payroll manifest of $12,777.14 for the February 2016 monthly payroll. Accounts payables manifest of $115,072.58. John Stark Regional payables manifest of $250,000 for the February 2016 appropriation. A Weare School District payables manifest of $450,000 for the February 26, 2016 appropriation, for a total of $868,759.74. School one's in there.
That's true.
There a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Administrative report.
I sent you guys a, did you read the Goffstown mutual aid agreement between Weare and Goffstown? Now, that has been used quite frequently. I asked Chip today that when Chip's on vacation, the gentleman actually lives in Weare, does the inspections, and it's vice versa, but it's on time, you know what I mean? They schedule around each other's schedule, so it has been valuable. He has not done anything at the Francistown one, it's just online. I just wanted to know the comparison, but, so the one with Goffstown, I don't know if you had a chance to read it, it's the same one, just got a new date. But I did figure you guys wanted to know if we'd used it or not used it. Was it valuable, was it not? It has worked on each other's vacations. So, if you're interested in signing it, there's enough signatures for all of you. Again, for 2 years, we did the last one.
I move that we sign the agreement between Goffstown and the town of Weare for a mutual aid for building inspections.
Second. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Aye.
Okay, thank you. I put in front of you, along with the list, 2 actual emails that came from Tim. One might as well address the first one first, with no through trucking of roads. Him and Chief Kelly met today. He was here last week and said they were going to try to get together and have some sort of statement drafted up. Is that what you meant when you asked about department heads, Keith?
That's what I thought he was gonna come.
Okay, yeah, no, he didn't come in, but I don't know if you want to read it into the minutes or how you want to do it. This is kind of what they've come up with for a plan at the moment. I know you've just seen it, but if you want to read it into the minutes or not read it into the minutes. There's 2 different things. One's low
Right.
road and one's no through trucking.
Is this, I haven't even finished reading it
Yeah,
myself
okay.
yet. Is this worthy of including in the minutes, you think?
Well, we've talked about in front of us currently is the idea of no through trucking on Thorndike and Hodgson.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned one of those roads that's fallen apart. There was a request to have no through trucking on Hodgson, and last week you asked Tim where they were in that process. Yesterday or this morning, he met with Chief Kelly in regards to what you had asked him last week for a statement as to what they thought should happen, which is exactly what you've got there. That's what they came back with.
Okay.
Do you want to include it, or do you not want to
No.
include it?
No, I don't think so. I think we need to read it ourselves.
Okay. Well, there's your answer. I mean, you can read it and...
Well, I don't see any reason we can't read it now. I mean, it's
Yeah,
only-
no, that's fine.
Go ahead then.
Yeah, and then discuss it, because
Yeah.
Okay. It's not really a recommendation.
I think that
That was their
Yeah.
input, I guess, not a
if we
recommendation.
have this in front of us, that is public information. And so I think it should be, you know, read aloud to the few people
that's
who are
fine.
here, and then also,
Oh, you're still gonna, if you
You put
decide
it-
to move forward, you're still gonna have to have public hearings, you're still
Yeah.
gonna have to do
yeah.
exactly what it says,
I
but,
mean, the minute we hold this here and read it ourselves,
Yeah.
it's open to everybody else. So
I know that you had asked him to come back, but he didn't,
I
he
I
couldn't
would
tonight, so.
suggest that it be read and then included in the minutes, whether we take any action on it tonight, which we can't anyways.
Right. Because any action that you do on the no-through question, it's gonna
So
require
this
a
is
hearing.
from Tim.
This is actually from Sean Kelly to Tim, but they met together,
Okay.
and this
From-
was the outcome of
It's from Tim.
It's from Tim down below to
Sean, right, as to after their meeting, and then Sean just said, I believe it covers it, so the two of them are on the same page as far as that goes.
Okay. I'll read it. On Monday, February 29, 2016 at 11 a.m., that's today, Chief Sean Kelly and DPW Director Tim Redmond met at the Weare Police Department to discuss no-through trucking road designations in the town of Weare at the request of the Board of Selectmen. Some of the information below is fact and some are opinions. The facts are, in order for the Weare Police Department to take enforcement action, a violation must be committed and observed. A complaint, speculation, or belief will not be satisfactory for the purposes of enforcement. The risk here is that some residents may be increasingly dissatisfied if their complaints go, apparently, unheeded. The complainant must be willing to appear in court, or the police department officer needs to witness the violation. Those are the facts. The opinions are, any road posted no through trucking may shift truck traffic to adjacent roads. Any decision to designate no through trucking should be made on a case-by-case basis. If any resident of a given road requests that the road be posted no through trucking, and if closing the road to truck traffic will not unreasonably restrict truck traffic, and if reasonable alternatives for truck traffic exist, then the Board of Selectmen should consider the resident's request. In the case of Hodgson Road and Thorndike Road, if the Board of Selectmen decide to designate them no through trucking, PD and DPW have no objections to such action, provided that the factual information above exists for the purpose of enforcement. The Selectmen create an appropriate ordinance, and the ordinance number be part of the signage that warns drivers of the restrictions as reasonable alternatives exist for avoiding the above-mentioned roads. Any RSAs regarding this matter must be adhered to. That was a summary of a meeting between Chief Sean Kelly and Public Works Director Tim Redmond. So the background information is, we've had people from Thorndike and Hodgson Road come here and ask us or request that we post their road as no through trucking, complaining of lots of issues with trucks going through their road. So rather than just address that one road or those two roads in a vacuum, this board decided that we should probably take a look at the whole town globally and designate where appropriate through trucking routes would be. In my mind, through trucking means somebody coming from another town through Weare, headed off to another town. This doesn't mean a project that generates on Hodgson or Thorndike Road or a tributary road to those roads are closed to truck traffic. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's not practical. You have to be able to get to anywhere in town. So that was the background to this. We talked about looking at a map of the town and kind of highlighting routes through town, which there are mostly state roads, I guess, that would be appropriate for that. And then looking at all our other roads and deciding whether or not they'd be appropriate for no-through trucking. We asked the Chief of Police and the Department of Public Works Director to do that study, seeing that the Highway Department drives all the roads on a weekly basis. I personally don't drive every road and where I drive the route that I take to get to work and where I need to go around town. And the Police Department to get their input, and you just heard what we got back from them. So so there's still more work to be done on our
Right,
end.
so the board needs to decide what they want to do next, and if you do decide to want to entertain the request from the residents, then, as we know, a public hearing needs to be advertised and gone through the process, and at that point, from the input that you get, you then need to decide what we want to do as town.
And I think part of what we were looking for was, from both of them, was if we do make that particular road no through trucking, where does that push?
And you didn't, right, and that,
I'm not sure that's where we're getting. So I think we need to be a little more.
but you asked the question last Monday, and that's what you got this Monday.
Well, we've asked it long before last month.
Right, but, I mean, what we brought back was not, and he was here when you face-to-face asked the question of what you wanted, and that's what you got.
Yep. So I think we need to readdress that.
I think trying to find out where all your traffic is gonna input what intersection, I'm just gonna throw this out there, I think it's gonna be difficult.
What, where it would go?
You don't know where it's gonna go?
No,
I don't know
no,
where it's
no.
gonna go.
Well, I think that,
It's gonna be
just
It's pretty reasonable to guess, I mean, looking at
Sure.
the map.
Using Hodgson
Sure.
and Thorndike,
It comes down to
you know, people are coming
149,
down
entry
149,
3/4.
and they say, take the left onto there,
Mm-hmm,
shoot right down there, it's a nice smooth road. I don't have to go down all the way down to
mm-hmm.
77, 114, and make that probably very difficult turn if you're in a tractor trailer.
It would be my understanding that if you're gonna post something, you gotta give them a chance to turn around. So, if you're gonna post something as no through trucking, you have to give them enough warning so they can turn around. And that's gonna be difficult. Yeah, that's
Oh,
difficult.
yeah.
Because Hodgson starts on the state road and ends at the Clinton Grove Academy area. I don't know how, unless you make the loop at the triangle somehow, some way. Or what do you do at Thorndike? You're gonna start at Thorndike, right at the bottom of the hill. You're gonna go up and you're gonna come into,
Well, these are
Quaker.
specifics we'll have to
Quaker.
talk about. if we
Right,
decide
that's
to
what I'm
go with it,
saying.
so
and I
it's
think
not for tonight,
it
though.
does, right, no, but I'm just saying, I think what you wanted, I don't know can be accomplished, or it obviously didn't get accomplished, but I don't know it's gonna be hard to accomplish that.
Well, then I think it's gonna have to be accomplished here, at this board level, and then reacted to from there.
Mhm.
'Cause we're just reaching out and trying to get it done, it's not happening,
No,
so.
I know.
Just get a big map.
I have one.
First thing that comes to my mind is if you close Hodgson and Thorndike to through trucking, then somebody picking up a load, say at Mount William Inc., it's gonna go right up by the lake, over the hill. Especially, I know that there are, town of Deering falls from there.
Mhm.
And I don't know which route they take now, but I would say if they can't cut across, then the shortest route would be up by the lake, and that's not necessarily where we want to direct the trucking.
That's a difficult word.
It's a difficult road, and it's got
Bridges
summer
and,
traffic, kids on bicycles, going to the lake and so forth. If kids ride bikes anymore to the lake, I don't know. Maybe they don't.
They do.
It's pretty tough work riding a bike.
I'd rather go Thorndike than around the lake.
But that's the first thing that comes in my mind, that would be where the traffic would go there. So then, does that mean we're gonna post Reservoir Drive as well? I mean, it's
After the map,
complicated.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's very-
It's very
I think that's what we
complicated.
need to address. I think that's what we've been trying to address for some time now.
well, I think he gave a map, and then we had him go back to the drawing board, and then the other day you asked him to meet, and then he got
We
together.
gave a map, we never saw a map returned to us.
No,
but then
yeah, I gave it to you. He brought it in one night. It was colored.
Yeah.
It was just had to do with those two roads.
Oh,
though.
yeah, I'm just talking.
I'm just
about-
saying that's
Right.
so. If you need a town-wide map, then we can get you a town-wide map, and we
I
can
have
kind of
one.
look at it. Right.
Well, bring it.
I just think it's a
Color
difficult
it up.
situation, particularly when you have to give them 50. I didn't know the footage, but I knew you had to give them a way to turn around. So
The other issue that they brought out in here is how you enforce it.
Well, if someone
Was it-
gets away with it because there was no cop there, then they get away with it. The same thing if you speed, it's a speed limit, and if you don't get caught, if somebody can yell and scream that they saw a speeder, but they're not gonna get a ticket because of a resident yelling at it or calling the police on them. It's the same as the way you enforce any other rule.
When I see someone speed up my road,
You pick up the phone.
that doesn't do anything. They have to be sitting on the side of the road.
And they do it back,
in
right?
order for-
Put out some of those spikes.
That kind of reminds me of my father.
So where, do you want to, I mean, it's in the forefront. I think we should keep moving
Oh,
and
yeah.
just get a map and sit down and
We need-
discuss it.
We're gonna have to get a map, and we're gonna have to look at where we're pushing the traffic if we close particular roads and
Yep.
the impact that it's gonna have.
Do you have a map, or do you need me to get a map?
I have one digitally, but I can plot it.
It's up to you. I mean, I'm sure we've got some here.
You do? With all the roads listed on it?
Well, I can get a nice new one from Southern Hampshire Planning. You mind to get something
Oh,
for your
yeah,
money?
then do that, yeah. That's probably where I got the one I have, and I
You did.
scanned it.
You did. So you're looking for a road map? And then we can color on it all we want.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe
Right
a
now,
couple
I'm still against it.
copies.
Still against looking at it?
No, against no through trucks on those two roads.
Oh, I don't know yet whether I
I
am or not,
mean-
because I haven't gotten the data that I need to.
I can tell you right now, it's an enforcement issue. Every complaint that we heard about those, at that time, that we were presented, was an enforcement issue. Already, speed, running the stop signs at the end of Thorndike, that's an enforcement issue. And us putting up RSA signs that say this is no through trucks is still gonna be an enforcement issue. Remember too, that now you're classifying all commercial vehicles, unless you do weight, which also includes your home heating oil trucks, your UPS trucks, all
That's
of
not,
those.
but those aren't through truck, they're making a
Yes.
delivery on that road, it's not a through, it's not.
But if he's gonna go from 77 and 114 down Reservoir that way and go towards 149, it is through trucking.
If he's not making a delivery on it.
If he's not, but
Right.
I'm saying that's gonna be, that's what I'm saying. And then,
But he's got 2 deliveries on Thorndike and 2 on Hodgson, and then back to 149. That's through trucking.
correct, so he's in violation, again, and that's gonna be an enforcement issue.
It's
My other thing is too, is now, okay, now we go in the winter heating season. You have your heating supply trucks going out there. Do you really want them going down Slacks Hill in the middle of a snowstorm, or do you want them to go out Hodgson, a flat road, from a safety issue?
Something we're gonna look at,
Yeah.
Rick, I mean,
I'm
the
just
only,
putting out
All
my
right,
points,
so-
the
why
only
I'm
thing I'm
against it.
talking about is
so the horse
looking
is
at it.
dead. So let's move on. Let's get a map, I guess, and let's have a general discussion.
Yep.
Then at that point, though, if we decide to have a public hearing, either way, I think we should have a public hearing. Whether you don't, I mean, and have a whole conversation, and then decide that time. But let's look at the map and see what we're talking about first, and then go from there.
I agree there's due process needed.
Yeah,
Correct.
not advocating one way or the other right now.
No,
We
no,
don't have all
no,
the information.
Right.
But if
I know you are.
if we're gonna have a public hearing, it has to be on a plan. You know,
Sure.
not just, okay, let's
Right.
listen to everybody. We gotta say, okay, this is the plan we have. Now we have a public hearing, and then we listen to what people say, and we
Yep.
either say,
Right.
well, thank you very much, and move on, or we say, not good, we gotta change this after we've heard what people
Right.
say.
So we'll get the map, drop the map,
starting point
and
is we,
right.
we come up with something.
Okay. All right, I'll just continue down my list and do the last, Low Road last. Tuesday's election day, next Tuesday. Maureen asked, what anybody had for time. Jim cannot work.
I can.
You can?
I can too. I have an 8:40 doctor's appointment, but I'm coming after that.
For the day?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can open and stay as long as I'm needed.
I can probably close. It's gonna be after 5 p.m.
Thank you for
Good night.
Thanks,
Yep.
John. Thanks, Eldon.
Keith,
Yes.
are you doing the day? Okay. Jen, whenever you get there in the morning for the day?
Yeah.
I
Look
can
at
leave
that.
at 7.
You have to leave at 7?
I have a whack meeting and I'll have a whack
Okay.
meeting in the library, but I won't be far.
All right, and then I'm gonna go over actually 4:30. All right, so that helps out there. You guys got the mailer? I don't know if you noticed. The town report should be in this week, but I did put the PDF on the. It's on the website front page. So if you guys have a chance, it's already up.
I saw the candidate night thing on the front page.
Right, but if you look at, there's a clip for the town report, it came out really nice, so the PDF is in color, and it's on the town website. Candidates night tomorrow night. I know I was in panic mode to try to find a moderator. I appreciate you offering, but I did, John Foss, even though he is on the ballot as the moderator, he's unopposed, he's our moderator this year, he offered that he would do it. The only thing I just want to put out there for everybody is, and to remind everybody that attends tomorrow night, that please observe the no parking areas. We had an incident with a resident that lived next door when somebody was using the town hall. They parked in their driveway so they couldn't get out. So that is a personal driveway, and there is no parking in the front of the building for use of the fire lane. So I just want to, we address the other issue with blocking the driveway.
Parking by the tennis courts.
There's public parking, but they're
school.
going to be observing and being a little bit more observant and on any function at the town hall, because it's posted no parking fire lane for a reason, and that resident that's his only driveway is to get in and out. So I was asked to remind everybody that if you park in the no parking zone or the fire lane, you might be in trouble. So fair warning. We're going to start at 7. Do we want to develop questions, or because John had asked me and I was going to just...
I don't think we should. I think we gotta stay, I said that in the email, as far away from it as possible.
But I'm just saying, if we gave him just a few, I mean, I remember last year we started out with basic question, and then it kind of took off.
They asked us.
Is it on YouTube? I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
just
see
saying.
anything wrong with you suggesting questions.
Okay,
But I don't
I
think
can do
we
that.
should as a board.
All right.
It's fine with me.
Well then, right, because usually what happens is when you start one question, it usually gets somebody else up and someone else up. The only thing I'm a little mixed with is we've invited the 2 libraries that are running for trustees. We've invited the 2 people running for treasurer, and we invited 4 for the selectmen. I was going to put everybody up on stage at once versus trying to swap. There was enough room last time. I didn't know if I should just do the 4 and then we mix questions. I'm just really unsure because this is the first time we've mixed different vacancies.
I remember when Jen and I were running.
Yeah, you were all
It
like
was a
8 of
line.
you ran.
Yeah, but it was all selectmen.
Right, and for one
candidates.
seat.
And then there was somebody running for library trustee.
But it
And-
was unopposed.
Was he unopposed? Because
Yeah.
I know he stood up and made a statement.
Right, it was unopposed. There's several of them that are unopposed, and I only voted the contested races.
Yep.
So, and all 8 people said they would be here, so I'm just not sure how we're going to be able to designate a question. I guess I'll have to try to work that out with John.
I mean, I would think for something like library trustee, it just asks them to summarize their.
I guess that's all I was
Make
thinking.
a statement
For,
from each one of them. If any questions.
yeah.
Just
That's kind of what I was leading for the, the other 2 positions, because I think the bulk of the evening is probably going to be the 4 for selectmen answering questions. So I was just kind of looking at just giving them their microphone and having some time just to why you're running and just give a little bit about yourself. And then if you have a question, I guess then we can go.
But I don't think we need to prepare a whole bunch of questions for
No,
this.
no, I can come up with a few and just get started, because then I think the floor takes it from there.
No, I meant for
Oh,
library
no.
and for treasurer. I don't
No.
think we need to prepare any other
No,
than
just
why are you running, and then open it to the floor if anybody has a question.
Okay.
Jerry might have in his records the questions that he used from last time.
I could ask him.
If he's available during the day, because
He had some good ones.
yeah, and they
It's
were all.
about the watershed and the, what I felt about the watershed, and I was like, I guess it's good.
Yeah, I can see if he had some. That's true. He did.
He did it last
He
year,
had some
too.
fill-ins of his own because he brought those himself. I didn't ask him.
Who would you have lunch with if you could pick anybody?
He had some funny questions
remember
too.
They were interesting answers.
Yep. The non-public at the end, I would like to discuss about the DPW position and things like that. That's why I asked for the non-public. And the last candidates night next week is coffee time at 6:30. 6:30 to 7, just social coffee hour.
Is that
It's not even an hour. Yep. I think it's right above the, it's in the front in our paragraph.
We're gonna do, did we do a column?
yeah.
And then we
That's the same
do,
night.
yeah, it's underneath, it says on Monday the 7th, there'll be an informal coffee time at 6:30, followed by televised call-in program from 7 to 8 to answer your questions concerning the ballot.
Don't all call at once.
You know,
So,
we did last year where we just went right along with the meeting and then took the calls as they came in.
Yeah.
So that at the end of, we didn't have to do whatever was on the agenda at the end. We just did it as we went along because we weren't getting any calls.
right. And the agenda was
We
light.
just kind of, meshed them in.
And then I think in the meantime, we talked about certain articles, just for clarification.
Yeah, I think we read through some.
Yeah. And the last thing that I have, other than, are you gonna touch upon any correspondence that I sent you, or do you want me to mention it? The correspondence I sent you guys?
Don't know if they were.
Pothole, just to give you an FYI.
Yeah, read
The
that.
Department of Revenue, you're at 102.4 at the moment. DRA, equalized valuation.
Yep.
And then what we're gonna get back from the Peasley Road Bridge, the check that we're gonna get back. Nope, I sent them all Friday.
Yeah, I think
Last week.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
that pothole policy, I think that's an important one to follow up on.
Yeah, I think it just needs to, do we have that in writing?
Not
At
as
this point?
such. The only thing we just did was the winter one. I don't believe we have
They also offered to give us a draft.
Yeah.
a sample.
Let's
That
take
needs
it.
to be in there.
Let's
Yeah.
take the sample.
Take the sample and work from there.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think that should be definitely in there.
okay. I did share it with both fire and police because it does talk about, if they find out about some insufficiency.
Everybody in the building.
Maureen,
From Primex? 'Cause
Maureen
I
got it.
I got it sent to me from Maureen too.
Oh, she sent me a copy too.
Okay.
I don't know how she got a copy. I got a copy, and then I forwarded it to Tim, the two chiefs. Then she forwarded it to me today. I'm not sure how many in this building got it, but I can.
Oh, doesn't
Ship-
matter.
yeah.
I was just curious
So I'll
as
get
to
the
why I
sample
got
from
it.
them, and we can go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just thought it was very interesting, and I think everybody should understand how that works. The DRA, there isn't much, and just we're going to be getting a check back from the state on the Peasley Road because that's all done. Peasley Road Bridge.
Now, one of the concerns that I had on that, going way back, or when we were trying to draft an article that made sense,
Took 2
was
years.
that it was all gonna balance out in the end.
Yep.
So we know what we're getting for a reimbursement check, but maybe Beth could go through the whole thing and give us like, what was the cost? What did the town actually have to pay?
Okay.
How much was reimbursed by the state? To make sure that we're not coming up short somewheres. Hopefully it's just the opposite and that we'd have more than we needed. But
Okay.
it was very hard to put that article
Oh.
together.
Yeah. Well, the first year it didn't pass. Remember, because it was
Right.
1.6, and then the next year we added up all the
Well, we did it
amount by
differently.
taxation. And,
We did it differently
Right.
based on an ongoing reimbursement process
mhm.
rather than the total minus the reimbursements. So that way we didn't have to bond it.
Right.
And that was good, but at the same time, I was a little worried that it was all gonna come out even at the end, and that's what I'd like to see now, is that
Okay.
it all came out the way it was
Yeah,
supposed
no,
to.
I'm sure Beth could give you exactly, what came from the bridge bond, what we got from the state, and things like that. So, yeah, I can get that accounting for you. Which brings me to the last thing that I have. Do you remember Tim talking about the Lull Road culvert? That's kind of the last of our 80/20 bridge shares, because it's our culvert, large culvert, I'll call it. He asked me, Nancy Mayville from DOT has reached out to him. She does the Bridge Aid program. And she asked what our plan is for the Lull Road. And then Tim informed me that this is our last approved 80/20 funded bridge for the town red listed bridges. Obviously, we've been pushing it down the road because he wanted to get Peasley done first. He did not bring it to CIP this year because there was an issue with the bridge, River Road Bridge on Buzzell. And then after the bridge inspector came down and looked at the River Road Bridge on Buzzell, They said that it would be good for another year, so that CIP moved it out to 2017. So, with that being said, he is asking us to make some commitment to Lull Road soon, or DOT is going to eliminate our funding. So, they still need to repair River Road as well. Lull Road will likely cost $500,000 to $600,000, with the town paying 20%. River Road was CIP classified as urgent and has preliminary cost estimate of $580,000, with the town responsibility being full, $580. I'm sorry. So we need to commit to somehow, some way, Lull Road. Are we going to? I don't think the only way we can commit is say we would put something on the ballot next year. That's really the only way we could commit.
Right.
We can't commit to any funding.
My recollection of Low Road was, that's just.
Culvert.
Culvert.
It's a big
but-
culvert.
Yeah, but it's gonna, yeah, so they're not doing it, aren't they?
It's a no, we have 80-20 approval. It's the last one that we got 80-20 approval for.
And if we don't do it.
If we don't do it, we're gonna
Right,
pick up the whole.
I'm just trying to recall
But-
what you mentioned. I thought at first he was going to try and do it himself.
Well, I think the thought was that we were gonna try to do it ourselves, but the estimate is too, I think the estimate of it's too much, and if you're gonna do it all, I mean, take 20% of $600,000 is more palatable than 100% of $600,000. So my question to you is, our only commitment, I think, can
I'd be in
see,
favor of saying we'll put a warrant.
we'll put a warrant article on for next March.
Now, so you're gonna keep track somehow of these warrant articles as they
I'll make
come
a
up?
17 town report folder, I guess, or a town
Yeah,
meeting
no,
folder.
seriously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because another warrant article that we should consider is similar to the road reconstruction, and Tim brought it up earlier, and it was brought up tonight, a road repair type of warrant article, or road, not maintenance in a lot of people's mind means plowing, but, you know, the whole thing that we talked about tonight, about repairing roads that we already have so that they don't deteriorate as quickly.
A program?
Yeah,
Well, it would be a
But what-
warrant article that we would ask to fund.
It'd be
But-
additional monies.
Yeah, but what he was talking about is putting a line in the budget for that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
putting a line
because
in the
there's an
budget.
RSA that requires a certain amount per square mile or per people or something. And, yeah, it's per capita or per square mile. That amount's in the operating budget, so in the event that the state block aid doesn't pass, then you have something to do some maintenance still.
But it's even for cold patch and.
Yeah.
Right.
His point was we didn't have anything in the budget,
At all.
period.
But it was also not just, the warrant article that we have is for road reconstruction, completely reconstruct.
Great, that's what it
There's
says.
nothing for road repair, I guess.
Repair
When
houses.
we, because we do get, you know, that's one of the few complaints that I hear is, "You come look at my street, it's
Mhm.
falling apart, I want you to fix it."
Yeah, that's one thing, I didn't want to get into a big discussion here during public comment, but one of the reasons that Tim put out certain parts of the road reconstruction to bid was to give his crew more time for regular maintenance.
Right. Right. I know the first thing he did when we hired him, when we talked about it in his interview, was ditches.
Ditches, right?
All right, so I'll make a new 17 folder. Is the minutes going to say that we commit to, or should, I don't know,
When do you have to give them an answer?
well, probably soon,
Yeah, I mean, soon.
because she called us, so she's looking whether to free up money or what.
Well, do we have any disagreement on whether or not we want to place an article for that?
No, I'd like to.
So then the minute should reflect that.
Okay,
Yeah, the only thing that going back to the other discussion of Peasley Road,
is there money left there?
is there any money
Right.
left there?
Right,
You know, that's a possibility if there's $100,000 left there that hasn't been spent. There's probably there isn't, but if there were, then you're talking about the 20%. And it's already there for bridges.
At least for this. Yeah. At
This
least for this
particular
project.
project.
Well, we'll see what that ends up.
yeah, actually, I see what you're saying. So you're saying if 20% of the cost of it is already in-house, and they're gonna provide us with 80, we can move forward without going to town meeting.
Right. I mean, it's probably not, but.
I would say it's
that's
probably
why we
not
need
there,
it
but.
accounted as-
No, what we have a bridge bond that we had some money left in to do Peasley. Peasley's bridge total was less than what we said it was going to
Right,
be.
But the bridge bond that we went to the voters for
Mhm.
was for Peasley.
Right, but it was a match of
Mm,
80-20.
I understand, but that
Yeah.
was, we'd have to talk about it, but I guess my initial reaction would be, we asked the voters to approve a bond to do Peasley.
No, we didn't do a bond.
They didn't do a bond.
Okay,
And-
but to,
and-
whatever, to fund the
Yep.
construction for the bridge at Peasley Road.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is moving back before Peasley, there was a bridge bond that was a general bond for
Mhm.
repair of bridges. Didn't have
Of all
anything
of
to do
them.
specific, and some of that, what that was left was gonna be applied toward Peasley. But, and then there was a dollar amount that was asked for up front from voters for
Mhm.
Peasley.
Right.
So however that all played out, there may
There may be
still
some money left
money
in that
that
original,
was the original bridge
bond.
bond, not the
Because-
Peasley article.
Okay.
because the article, the cost was less than what we said it was
And
gonna
again, it's a long shot, but we should look.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying.
$100,000
I can ask Beth,
maybe.
yeah. I can ask Beth if there is any there. I guess if there is not any there, I think we could commit to Nancy Mayville that we would put an article on.
Yeah.
Does that
We-
sound
we
fair?
Just agreed.
Yeah, okay. All right, and then I'll make a folder for 17, and as you think of things, 17 will be around the corner. Faster than you know it. Other than that,
Maybe fully not.
yeah, I just have the non-public to do the DPW things, and that, yeah. And there's an MOU that I'd like to talk about as well, in the non-public.
Okay. We are back at public comment.
Two things as a result of, your meeting tonight. Tom beat me to the punch. I was gonna say Deering. They make a lot of trips. I mean, they go by,
Yep.
2 houses, I'm the second house up from Thorndike, and they make a lot of trips. I would almost kind of feel bad for them having to go all the way down to maybe Country 3 and then up that way. And I've often thought, I don't know why they, and if they haven't, why they don't look into hiring a, tractor trailer, to save wear and tear on their 10-wheeler and that kind of stuff.
I think it's a 6.
But, pardon me?
I think it's a 6-wheeler.
No, it's a 10-wheeler.
Is it 10?
Yeah, I think they got it.
Well, the one
Okay.
I see, it's
Okay.
yeah, bright red truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking, isn't
Says
the
Deering on the
the
door.
green one, I think is.
And it says Deering, yeah.
Yeah.
Although when I go on my walk, I can hear it, so I don't have to look for it. And the other thing, in regards to tomorrow night, and I remember back, when you were running, you've already stated there were 6 or 7 people that were running. And it seemed like the moderator, Jerry, at the time, had a lot of prepared questions. And I kind of felt at the time that, with 6 or 7 people answering those questions, it took a lot of time away from the public to have their questions if it was so. So I would probably suggest, if you're going to have prepared questions, to probably instruct the moderator that really use them as a fill-in.
Sure.
If he feels
I
it's
can do that.
dead time.
Yep.
And, may help the public a little
Okay.
bit better.
Well, I guess the hopes of the candidates night was not for me to direct questions anyway, was to lead the conversation and let everybody fill in after that.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
Yeah. Well, I'm not objecting to prepared questions. I mean,
Mhm.
prepared questions can be just as valid as,
Sure.
me or somebody else asking the question.
Mhm.
So it's not to take away the validity of that, but, again, just, key in on the public first.
Okay.
That would be it. And with quite not so many people, do you intend to serve breakfast Wednesday morning?
With Wednesday morning.
Yeah, after the,
No, we're going to be done at 8.
oh, we're gonna be done at 8, okay. Okay. So
I'll make refreshments. I already said I would.
just those couple of things, and more so for the, for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other public comment? Correspondence, we actually hit that in
Yep.
our report. Anybody have any other business? Okay, I move we go into non-public session under RSA 91A 2, A, B, and C.
Right. Well, B is hiring. A and C
Yeah.
has to do with, yeah.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 What time is it?